There we go. Mayang buntag, mayang hapon, mayang gabi. We have sound and we have video. No, we don't have sound. Well, I can't hear the sound here, so I don't get no nasty echo. You know. Anyways, yeah, my phone's about dead. Uh, we had an interesting day yesterday. We went to Cindy and I both went to J Center Mall, and I did my annual check-in. Which reminds me, I need to go get that scanned and put into the computer. It doing the annual check-in is not a difficult process. I started to get a little bit of a video of it, and then we got distracted, or I got distracted, and got video of the check-in, but didn't get video of anything else we did the rest of the day. My apologies. I will do a video of the check-in process. I did one last year, and I had somebody make comment that it wasn't terribly informative. And I don't do how-to videos typically, but at the last half of this one, I will put in a how-to section. And it's not a difficult process. It's a lot of running around back and forth. Make sure you got copies of everything. And if not, there's a little copy center right out front that you can make copies at. So it's not a huge deal. This year, and actually last year was real good too. That the process was kind of speedy. The second year I did an annual check-in. The process was a little bit longer, but there was a lot more people here, and I was doing it right during Cinelog, and there was a lot going on. Now that's the one drawback of doing your annual check-in in Cebu, because you typically wind up doing it during Cinelog when everybody and their brother's here. And so the first year I did it in Cebu, I'm looking up something on my card. I want to see if there's an issue date. I think there is. There is. I still have 2 more years on the card. I got it in February 2019. And yeah, what was silly is I got it on the 22nd of February, because I got it in February. I got the card. The card was still warm from the freaking presses after having just done my 13A visa, and I still had to do an annual check-in. So in addition to all the other fees that we had to pay right then, they got an extra 310 pesos that year. Not a big deal. So 2019, I checked in at Manila. I checked in at the main headquarters of VI at Manila. 2020, 2021, and this year, 2022, the last 3 years, I've checked in here in Cebu. 2020 was just before all of this nonsense started. Just as it was getting started. The Philippines hadn't started locking down yet. And that year was a little bit longer process to do, but still wasn't too bad. It was definitely manageable. Last year was 15 minutes, almost literally. There was hardly anybody there. It was great. This year, it was maybe 20 minutes. So it still went way quick and smooth. Last year, I don't remember them needing a copy of the previous year's receipt, and to be bluntly honest, I don't think I would have had it. Although I went back on my computer, and I do have a scanned copy, so I don't know, I might have. but I'm gonna have to scan this one in for next year, and that way I've got a scan. It's in the cloud, and I can just print it out and run it down with them. It's the same thing with my ACR card. I've got a scanned copy of that on file to run down with me. This year, morning, Mr. Daniel. How you doing today? Don't worry about it. That the channel's kind of taken a little bit of a hiatus. That I've just been doing these live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I need to get out of that and get back into doing things. Since Odette, I just haven't gotten things back into gear yet. Part of it is because it's been kind of a cluster, just distractions upon distractions. Like I said, I did get a little bit of video of the annual check-in, so I'll do that, and I'll add on kind of a how-to video afterwards. It's not terribly hard. Some people will go through the different services and do that. I'm here. It's not that big of a deal, and it's definitely not that hard. The biggest thing is it's kind of time consuming. That's the hardest part of it. It is kind of time consuming. Because you wind up chasing around from window to window to window. I did find out one other interesting piece of information. And this is something that I'm going to have to research a little bit more. But according to the Bureau of Immigration, I don't do my exit clearance through them. That I do the exit clearance at the BI Cossack at the airport. And so I don't know. Every time I've left, I've had to do that. But this is the first time I've been here over a year. It's the first time I've been here over 6 months. So I'm going to reach out to the BI on their website and double check and ask them what that procedure is. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. Worst case, I'll print out. I think I saw the form online. Worst case, I'll print it out and run it down a couple weeks in advance and get it checked out and find out what's going on. Now, when you've got a 13A, you have to, whether or not you've got it done in advance, you still have to go to that place at the airport and you still wind up paying. Whether or not if you bring in an exit clearance, you'll have to repay for the exit clearance. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like surprises or hang-ups. And so I probably would get one done just in advance just to make sure that there's going to be no surprises, hiccups, or anything else at the airport on our way out. That I don't think there's going to be any surprises, but this is the Philippines. You just don't know. And I know that we're now. I just don't want any surprises. We'll go with that. What else went on? We went grocery shopping yesterday down to the J Center Mall's in Mandawi. So J Center Mall does not have the no mask, no entry, or no vax, no entry policy and all that good garbage that every place here in Cebu does. We've got a wedding coming. I'm skipping a groove on you people. We've got a wedding coming up this weekend. And Cindy and I talked about it. After the wedding, we're going to have a truckload of stuff. And we're going to run Sunshine down to Cebu. And that this was part of the discussion at the shopping trip. We're just going to get, we're going to be ready to leave on a few days' notice. Yeah, Daniel, the BI, you can email them. There's no guarantee that it's going to reply. That's pretty stereotypical with the Philippine and pretty much any government. Uh, I'm still waiting on a reply from the embassy from a month ago. That yeah, the U.S. embassy in Manila still hasn't replied to one email that I wrote to them. Although they did reply to the email that I replied to, excuse me, about canceling the 21st appointment. So the March 21st appointment, that by all rights we're going to be out of here by then, or really close to then at least. We stopped at a German restaurant. We've been to Traveler's Resto Bar. I don't mind the food. Cindy really didn't care for the food that she got at Travelers a couple of times. And she typically winds up ordering Filipino dishes at restaurants like that. And, you know, even if they do decent Western food, the Filipino food often isn't the greatest. And sadly, a lot of the places do really good Western food or do the better Filipino food, don't do the greatest Western food. We both kind of like German food, and we've got a friend of ours that is German and of German ancestry, and that they go to a lot of the German restaurants in Phoenix. So we've been there a couple times with her, and she really liked it. So when we saw this, that we figured go down there, and they did. They had a really good. Yeah, I know it's not terribly German, but they had a really good chicken cordon bleu. And I got the English dish. No, I got one of the German sausages. It was pretty good. And after that, we went down to the SM grocery store in the mall, and yeah, we talked about it, and we got a little bit of stuff. Uh, but as far as trying to get much, we had a discussion in the mall, and then afterwards that we're gonna get ready so that we've got basically nothing that isn't going in a suitcase left in Toe Chip by the 1st of March, or by the first week of March. So hopefully, if the passport comes in early, we can try and change flight and get out of here within a few days of getting the passport. If we haven't gotten it by the 11th, that Friday, we're going to email the consulate. Yeah, we're going to try and email the U.S. government here and let them know, you know, hey, that it's been 6 weeks. We have tickets on the 27th of this month. Could you, is there any way you can check the status on the passport and let us know, you know, give us a little bit more up to date, you know, estimate on when it might be here. And if we haven't heard back from them by the 17th, that'll put it within 10 days of us leaving. We'll reply, you know, at that point, we'll send another email, you know, letting them know, hey, we're within 10 days. You know, what can we do to get out of here? Ever since I'm dead, my smoking's gone horribly. Yeah, I need to quit. Daniel, at this point, and realizing it's another 50 some days before we leave, or 40 some days before we leave, at this point, U.S. citizens do not need anything other than a PCR test within 24 hours of leaving. So uh, we're going with that. We'll go down. Cindy and I will go down and get PCR test a day or so before we leave. That and we'll double check what the requirements are just before we go. That at this point, U.S. citizens do not need a vax or anything else. No, and case counts are dropping like a freaking stone. Case counts are dropping like a freaking stone. I can see them doing away with a lot of this nonsense by June. I would love to see them do completely away with it by June, but who knows? I was saying this a year and a half ago though, so I don't know. I've given up trying to guess on the Philippine government, and that's part of the reason why we're leaving is that it's just gotten too inconsistent. It's not even consistently bad. That's part of the problem. Rules change a while ago. This was about a year ago. I think it actually wasn't just about a year ago. Mama Papa boarded a ferry here in Cebu going to CDO. And when they boarded the ferry in the evening, there was no quarantine requirement. By the time they got to the CDO, when they disembarked the ferry, there was a 14-day quarantine in place. And so crap like that, happens and is still happening. When we went to Manila with round trip tickets, all we needed was a PCR test and went. Matter of fact, we didn't even need a PCR test. So we needed a PCR test for the one of the quick tests, one of the nasal swab quick tests to get into the apartment or the condo we were renting. We didn't even need a test to go. And then by the time we were looking to come back, we had to get a freaking act of Congress to get out of there. And so that's part of the problem that's still happening in Philippines is these rules change halfway through your trip. And so it's just gotten too crazy. And it's too hard to keep up with, and it's just too frustrating. And every time you turn around, when you go to here, you can, you go to there, you can't go over that other place. And they just instituted it, but it'll be gone by next Friday. So it's just rules are changing too much here, and I'm not in love with the idea of going back to the U.S. at this point, but I think the U.S. is going to be better for us for a few years. It'll allow us to rebuild a lot of stuff, to get better prepared to come back permanently. And we're going to look around, and there's a good chance we're going to wind up settling Dumaguete, Bacolod, or someplace nearby. And that was kind of our original plan, is to find someplace near a city, but like Bual, that had a little bit of amenities and stuff like that right there, and close enough to Cebu to where we could get stuff when we needed it, and just kind of chill out and home base out of there and just tour. And God seems to have had other plans for us, and then we're good with that. We'll work with that. So, that's kind of what we're doing now is reassessing and figuring out what we need to do to make this work. Uh, I don't see that there's going to be a huge problem, but time will tell. And that's that's exactly where I got to go with it. And time will tell. We'll figure it out. This trip has been its own challenges. Hey, Michael and Heidi, how you doing today? Well, Philippine experience that John, that he was ready to come back, and that their original policy, that 159 that came out a couple weeks ago, allowed for foreigners with visas to come in that were unvaccinated. The newest policy does not allow, and this is, after like the sixth rewrite in a week, the rug got pulled out from under him, and now that it's back to that there are absolutely no exceptions other than medical and a couple of weird reasons, you have to be vaccinated. Any foreigner on any visa has to be vaccinated. So at this point, when I leave, until they amend policies, I can't get back in at this point, even with a 13A. And so that's something that's been kicking around in the back of our mind, but it's going to be a year before we come back anyhow. And I did find out a couple of the agencies here can do your annual reporting without you being there. They can do it for you. And I'll have to email them. And if worse comes to worse, next year I'll have to email them and find out whether or not I could mail them my passport, basically FedEx it to them, have them do the annual check-in, and then come back, have them mail it back to me. It will be horribly expensive if I have to do it that way. But if they still have the vax policy online, that may be what I'll have to do. I don't know. But yeah, that hopefully by June, July, this panic will be over worldwide, and life will start resembling some kind of normal. But yeah, Michael and Heidi, I'll agree with you. Don't come until it's way more stable. Love Beyond the Sea, they're coming here, but they're both fully vaccinated and all that good garbage. But since they don't have to do the quarantine, they're going to come in, do a 2-week, and out of here. I was kind of hoping to try and meet up with them. Originally, they were supposed to fly into Cebu and then down to Davao. And I guess the most recent plane tickets that they were able to get flying to Manila to Davao. So, it doesn't look like we're going to get to meet up here in the Philippines. The affiliates and Joe, Andy is going back to the States. We've met Andy here. We've got some old videos of when we spent some time together. And I am going to do, we're going to try and meet up in the States when he gets back. But again, he's going to be in and out at the States. So we'll have to see if it works. No, IATF is not ready to give up power, and that's part of the problem. That is part of the problem. Is the IATF does not want to give it up, but Bureau of Quarantine, Department of Health, whatever their major one's called, is saying that those policies are out of date. That it's not working. The Tourism Bureau, the Department of Tourism, is saying, "No, we gotta get this place open up somehow, some way. We gotta get people back." So I think the IATF may get overruled by other departments and may take a back seat. Oh, no worries. I'm actually not going to do very long today. I want to get cleaning today. That I need to do a bunch of fairly in-depth cleaning to this place. And I've got some other paperwork I want to get done, and then I want to download and edit that video so I can post it tomorrow. I'm going to try and post at least 1 to 2 videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm not sure what days I'm going to post other than Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about 9 o'clock, about 9 a.m. our time, so that it will keep people coming back to the channel daily at the same time. I just before Odette and things went south, I was starting to do videos at night, and I don't know how well the view counts were going on that. Got a few subscribers, but not many, and so I'm just trying to figure things out. This year, as far as trying to build a channel, was not a great year, and with everything that went on, it just didn't happen for me, and a lot of the things that I wanted to get done for the channel just didn't happen. So at this point, I'm trying to figure a new normal for myself, only to have it completely turned on in a month when we go back, in a month and a half when we go back to the States. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, right now, not a whole lot going on other than trying to get ready. I'm going to try and do some video of us getting ready, some of the thought process that we went through, because some of this stuff is wound up being double thought, because we really thought about it and made some debates and discussions about what we wanted to bring with us when we came to the Philippines, about what we'd like to have here that we could balikbayan box, and things that we just wanted to leave in the States. And a few of those things that got left probably should have gotten brought. Some of the stuff that got brought or balikbayan boxed probably could have gotten left. And so we're going to be going through the exact same process except backwards and minus the balikbayan box option. So, but in the end, we kind of went through it, mentally, and there's really not a whole lot here that needs to go back. And a lot of the stuff here is furniture that can't go back. So it's going to be an interesting process with us going through this. And I probably will try and video some of that. And go through and give our thoughts, opinions on what got brought and why, and what we're going to take back and why. So, but I do notice it's been half an hour today. And I'm kind of at a loss of things to say because, like I say, that I'm not really sure what's going on and things are still up in the air. So I'm actually going to end this a little bit early today at about the 30-minute mark. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to get on our Facebook page or email us and ask any questions about our thoughts and processes. Leave comments. I do go back through and read the comments on the videos, and we'll definitely reply to them, but I'll also talk about them the next live stream we do too. But from Toad Chip Compound, mabuhay.